Childhood mistreatment is a harrowing reality that affects countless individuals, leaving deep emotional, psychological, and physical scars. Beyond the immediate pain, this episode explores the long-term consequences of childhood mistreatment through the story of Atuhura, demonstrating the lasting impact on individuals and society as a whole. How do we overcome childhood trauma? Welcome to Triumph Women Beating the Odds. My name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa.
Brought to you by Stanbic Bank Uganda.
Born into a childhood marred by mistreatment and adversity, Marjorie Atuhura defied the odds. Instead of succumbing to the trauma, she found strength in the experiences and resolved to become a catalyst for change. Recognizing the challenges faced by women in rural areas, she founded the Geja Women Foundation to address pressing issues concerning business development, education, and gender mainstreaming. Hi, Marjorie.
Hi, Sharon.
I am happy to be here.
We are so honored to also have you here at the home of the Geja Women Foundation.
Well done, Marjorie.
Thank you so much.
So straight to it. Let's go to your childhood.
I was born by two school-going children. My mother was 14 and my father was 16. The time of my birth, my father told my mom he was too young to have a child. So my mom, I think, went through all that hassle of raising a child all alone, the pregnancy alone. And then after my birth, her parents told her to take me back to where I belonged.
To your father's?
To my father's side. So I was literally brought back to my father's side, my grandfather's home, when I was a baby, a very young baby.
How old were you?
I think I was around 3 months or so. I'm not so sure. Yes. And so I grew up in a home of my grandparents. That is where I have lived most of my life. Though not only in that, I've grown up in very many spaces, very many homes. Whoever cared to take care of a girl child, that is where I was.
And how was it? Tell me your experiences.
It was hard. When I was a little child, I think I never used really to care much about it. But I still remember the words that I heard some people say when I was growing up, and I have them on my mind. Like, she's a bastard. I grew up knowing I'm a bastard. I didn't even know what it meant at that time. I'm a child born out of wedlock. Remember, my father's family and my mother's family are both Christian families. So my father's family clearly said, we can't stay with a child who was born out of wedlock. She's a bastard. My mother's side, I think, also said they can't take care of a child who is also born out of wedlock. So, literally.
They were all acting religious?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, growing up in families where, of course, there are parents and their children, I could still see that there was a difference with me. Yes.
So, at what point did you know there was a difference?
After my senior 4, I visited my stepmother. I got to find my father along the way, and he was married to another woman. And then my youngest sibling, I don't know whether it was from my stepmother or so, continuously told me how my mother passed away, how I didn't have a mom.
Okay.
So I came back to my grandfather where I grew up from, and I asked him, is it true I don't have a mother? I thought this was my family. And that is when they had to roll it down for me, how I had come there, or the circumstances that brought me into life. Yes. And then I started the journey of looking for my mother.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you find her?
Yes, I did find her in my Form 4 VAC. Before that, I would always picture how my mother would look like. Is she a fat woman? Is she brown? Does she look like me? I didn't even have any picture of her. No one ever cared to show me a picture of her. But later I found her, or she found me actually walking towards my brother's home.
Okay.
And she looked at me and she asked me, do you know me? And I'm like, no, I don't know you. And she's like, I'm your mother. In my head, I didn't have that picture of meeting my mom like that, just along the road. And then I walked with her to my brother's home, where my brother's wife was. And they sat down there and they talked adult stuff. After seeing her, for me, I had accomplished it all. I was like, it's done. I have seen her. Yes.
So from senior 4, what happens?
From senior 4, I remember my grandfather sent me back to my father in Fort Potro to let him know that I had completed Form 6 and I was going to join university, if he can also try to pay my school fees. Unfortunately, it was not possible. After senior 4, I had to come back. So I missed one term of senior 5. I didn't do senior 5 first term because there was no school fees and life was still changing. I joined senior 5 second term, completed Form 6. Yes, and joined Chambogo University on government sponsorship though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point in your life did you feel like you went through mistreatment as a child?
Ooh. There are a number of times when I thought that. At a certain point in my life, I think around 7 or 8, I was at the verge of being raped. I was at home alone at my grandmother's place, and then a man came and wanted to take advantage of me.
Did you know this man?
He was one of the guys that used to dig around in the farm. I still remember what I did.
What did you do?
I ran and climbed the top of the tree. And then he was like, I can see you. You know, I can also come up that tree.
And you were 7?
I was 7. I was shaking. My grandma was not at home. No one was at home. So literally this guy had all the capacity, all the abilities in the world
To rape you?
to rape me. An old woman who was, you know how villages be, very far from each other, the neighborhood is not nearer. She was passing by. She's the one who found me on top of a tree and asked what I was doing. And funny enough, I don't think she saw this man. The man vanished into the banana plantation. I came down and went back with her to her home.
Most children don't recognize when somebody is about to rape them or abuse them. How did you recognize that?
The guy was holding me in very funny ways, touching me, telling me stuff like in the local language, of course. If you sleep with me, I can buy you sweets. I was not moved by the sweets. Another time that I vividly recall was before I even started my periods, I think around 14. Oh no, before that. 10, 13, I was staying at my auntie's place, and they had adopted one boy from the street, and so he was staying with us in the house. So what I remember that day, my auntie and the husband were celebrating their anniversary, and they left us at home. So of course they went to celebrate as a couple, and they told us to cook for ourselves. It was only me and the boy inside. He was a little older than me. I think he was in Form 3 at that time. So as you know, boys, he never did anything at home that day. He went to the neighbors, they were watching movies. And when he came back, he found when I had prepared dinner. And I told him, you will not eat. Because you didn't do anything, you will not eat. So I prepared everything, ate, cleaned the utensils, went to my bedroom. In the middle of the night, I had someone coming to me, like holding me, like he squeezed me. And then he's like, you see, because you didn't even give me food, this is what I'm going to do to you. I don't know how he entered into my bedroom. Everything was fast.
All this because of food?
All because of food. But guess what? In that moment, my auntie and her husband's car, we had the gate when it was ringing, and he jumped off.
And that is how you were saved?
That is how I was saved. Second time.
Now moving forward, you're now in university.
At university, I never completed. I got pregnant at 19. I have a daughter who is 9 years old. And I was doing education. I didn't do it because I wanted it. But at that time, my grandfather, who was my guardian, didn't have enough resources to pay for my school fees. He was actually laid back for 2 years. I wanted to become a lawyer.
From the story of Marjorie, we realize the importance of taking care of our girl children. Never take anything for granted. Every red flag is indeed red, not white. You leave a girl at home, anything can happen. So as parents, as mothers and fathers, let's not wait to regret later. But then for all the women that have gone through sexual violence, rape, it's not the end of the world. And it is not your fault. Let's take a break and we will be right back. Welcome back from that short break. We are still with Marjorie Atuhura, who overcame childhood trauma and has emerged victorious and is here to share the inspiration with you. Let's continue with her story. So Marjorie, now you're pregnant, you've given birth to your baby. How do you then move on from that?
Actually, before I gave birth to my baby, I went home. I was given employment at a certain school. I don't think I should mention the name.
It's okay, so just say school.
I was promised to be paid 400,000 each month.
Yes.
As a young girl, I was excited. I taught English and literature from senior 1 until Form 6 with general paper. And guess what? First month, I was not paid. Second month, I was not paid. The third month, when the term was ending, I was called into the bursar's office and I was told, I guess a story many of us get being employed. You know, the children never paid money this term, so we are not able to get your salary. But this is what we've managed to get you.
You were pregnant?
Yes, I was pregnant. I think I was 4 months pregnant then. Guess what was in that envelope? 50,000 Ugandan shillings.
Marjorie.
Yep.
Proceed.
After 3 months of working, I got 50,000 UGX. I packed all my things from that school, went back home. No one knew already that I was pregnant. Came home. So my sisters realized something was wrong. One of them was like, but Marjo, that's not your boob. What happened? I'm like, I am pregnant. My mom, my grandmother in the house, was like, you don't talk to me. You go tell it to your dad.
Who's your grandfather?
Who is my grandfather. So that day, we were at the farm. And he knew I had gotten employment. He was giving me plans. He was like, now since you've completed school, though you've not graduated and you're being paid, so you're going to be working, half of the money is for you, half of the money we save, you go back, you upgrade, and become the lawyer that you wanted to become. In my heart, I'm like, this one does not know what I am carrying. But every time they would be looking at me, my sisters would be like, say it. So the whole day it was all full of plans, like we're at the farm, collecting food to go back home. So in the evening, we were back home. I told myself, I am going to tell this guy that I am pregnant. So he was taking his tea, evening tea, watching news. I came and sat down. I'm like, there's something I want to tell you. So I came with the envelope of the 50K and told him, I'm so grateful. He took me to school. I went and did a course that I never wanted, but I did it. I started working, which you've been knowing about. And this is the money that I have been paid for the 3 months. But also, I am pregnant. He never responded to me. He stood up, walked past me, went to the bedroom, banged the door. I never saw him again.
You could hear the door like...
I'm like, oh. And the people were behind in the living room, like sitting in the at the dining, like all peeping, what is going to happen, what is going to happen. So I went back. I told them I can't be here. I'm already a disappointment. Remember, I was born by young children. I think he read the disappointment. He's like, really? Even the person I knew who would do better didn't? This is what has happened? The next morning I left. To where? I don't know. I went and rented in a small suburb in Kampala, along Unintended Road. I went for a job interview. One of my friends or uncles had a friend who was starting something in Impiji, and they needed facilitators. And that is the Social Innovation Academy in Impiji, known as SINA. I applied as a facilitator. And guess what?
You were given the job.
I was given the job. And this time around, not only a job, but I was also given a home. The first thing I told the founder, I am pregnant. But no one would believe that I'm pregnant. 4 months, coming to 5 months. I fell sick. Day and night, in and out of hospital. But I gave birth in October 2014.
Wow.
And before that, it's my same grandfather who took me to the hospital. To Mengo Hospital to give birth. I think when we were in the hospital, he asked the father of the baby, should I take my girl home or will you take care of her? And the guy was like, I will take care of them. In my heart, I was crying. I'm like,
you knew that was not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Please, Daddy, take me home.
Please take me home. But I can't say it. And then they had already told me, when you give birth, you become a woman. You can take care of your own self. And now you have a baby. Guy didn't have a job. He ran away from his job that he was scared that they would take me. So literally we were all there, stagnant. No job, apart from me who had a job that I left in Impiji and I was now in Kampala suburb, and the money that I was getting at that time would help us in the rent. Now I have me, my daughter, and him
to take care of.
My life-changing point was at 2 weeks, when my baby was 2 weeks. I woke up and told him, you know what? Me and you are not the same. We don't have the same goals. We have no vision together. I am leaving. He's like, you're telling lies. You'll come back. I told him no. I am tired of being a disappointment to myself, to my family, and to my future. And I left. I came back to my job in Impiji. When I came back, things had changed. I was no longer employed. But the founder gave me an option. The founder of SINA gave me an option to start something of my own.
Of your own, yes.
And I'm like, how? How do you want me to start something of my own? Where do I start from? It's like I've seen something in me. He's that one person who pushed me to the person I am. Etienne Salbon, wherever you are, truly grateful. He continued to support me until where I am today.
So how does Geja Women Foundation arise from?
Now, Geja Women Foundation started as a seed. When I came to Mpiji, I was pregnant. I would go on visiting women, asking them how do they take care of a pregnancy. I didn't hear the baby kick. What would have happened? And these women became my strong pillar of leaning on.
Your go-to.
Yes. Women would give me their baskets, mats. I go to Old Kampala, I go to all those markets that I am selling. And guess what? Spent 3 months, no one has even bought a mat. But people still come, Auntie Marjo, my child is sick. Auntie Marjo, I didn't eat. Auntie Marjo, this and this. In 2016,
You had not sold anything.
oh no, you don't sell. Apart from these people that come and they hear your story and they feel pity for you. And they give you like 100 DK. But you have over 35 women who are on you.
Yeah.
You even have your child.
Yeah.
But I have sold fruits. I sold vegetables. I did waffles. And I told myself I would never call home that my child is sick. We don't have diapers. She has no clothes. And I always tell myself, if I had not given birth, where would I be? What would I be doing? Maybe I would be one of these girls in Kampala that's...
Like giving birth actually saved your life.
Yes.
So we are now trying to build Geja Women Foundation.
Yeah, Geja Women Foundation, building it from the women. My mentor telling me, I believe you can do something, you can be a voice, you can change what other girls are thinking. I mean, giving birth, dropping out of school does not mean you stop thinking, does not mean you stop your dreams, you stop dreaming. I dreamt that I would go back to school, being that I used to call myself a school dropout, but now I'm back to school. 9 years ago,
Wow.
I joined school again. I have a dream of getting my PhD before I make 45. So I mean, from being pregnant at 19, starting my own venture, going back to school.
So where is the father of our baby?
I left him when the baby was 2 weeks old. But I really wanted the best for us and also for the child. I remember at one point, I was at the verge of getting my mother's land title to give it to the money lenders so that he goes abroad and works so that my baby can have a good life.
Let me get this straight, Marjorie. You wanted to get your mother's land title, at this point your grandmother.
Yes.
Give it to money lenders,
Yes.
get money,
Yeah.
and send the father of your child abroad.
Yes.
And did you do it?
I was at the verge of doing it. I had even requested for it. But I have one friend, one person who called me and asked me, are you okay? This that you're doing, okay, I mean it is good. But which guarantee do you have that when he goes abroad, he will work for the better of you and your child? Why don't you focus these energies into building what you've started for you and your daughter? Okay, I mean, not being selfish, but when I look back, she did the right thing. Thank you so much.
Wow. So what message do you have for another woman out there that is probably going through the same situation that you have overcome?
I mean, any young woman, a lady outside there, it is never the end until when it is the end. As long as you still breathe, you have a head, you have eyes, can walk, even those that don't have, but you have a dream. The most important thing is for you to dream and don't stop dreaming. When you dream, put out your first step, walk towards achieving that you need. Giving birth shouldn't deter you, losing a marriage, or the worst can happen, but as long as you're alive, you can still make it.
Through Marjorie's experiences, she has become a driving force for transmutation in her community. Geja Women's Substructure stands as a symbol of hope for women and girls in the rural areas, offering opportunities for magnification, inculcation, and potentiation. Proof that no impediment is surmountable when the tenaciousness to ascend above prevails. Follow us on our socials at Girl from Oyam and at Triumph Women UG. Join us next Saturday, same time, as we bring in more inspiring stories. My name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa.
Brought to you by Big Bank Uganda.